The future is not a scary place. I think it's not something that people should be worried about. If I was an AE today and I was sat in an AE seat and I was looking at selling what I would call point-click solutions.
From door-to-door sales to SaaS innovation, Joe Allen is the founder of Launched and creator of Nova.
What was this journey?
So my first company was fully bootstrapped. You know how to make the money stretch. You prioritize what you have to pay sometimes. You do the best you can to make it stretch.
In this episode, we explore into Joe's journey from sales to SaaS, the bold pivots that saved his business, and how Nova is redefining the future of selling with AI. From mastering demos to reshaping how companies connect with customers.
I could see a future where SaaS was going to be needed more of a central own point. I saw a future where the AI could do the sales position.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Brilliance Talks. I am your host, Simac Konkader, and today's episode is going to be a fascinating dive into what happens when deep sales experience meets cutting-edge AI. My guest today is Joe Allen, founder of Launched and the creator of Nova, the world's first fully autonomous AI salesperson. Joe's journey started in the trenches, door-to-door sales, face-to-face pitches, account management at boardroom level before building a marketing agency that hit 2 million in turnover. Guess what? Then came COVID. The agency collapsed, but Joe's didn't quit. Instead, he pivoted, productized, and built a SaaS company that's now closing a 3 million funding round. And Nova isn't just another AI tool. It generates leads, joins sales calls, runs demos, and will soon be sending contracts autonomously. So today we are going to unpack Joe's founder story, the hard pivots, the leadership lessons, and how he's building something truly disruptive in a noisy market. Joe, welcome to the show, and it's great to have you here.
Thanks for having me, Simac. It's lovely to be here.
Let's start with the first question. You've been in sales for over 20 years, from knocking on doors to selling at board level. What did that first chapter teach you about selling that still holds true in the AI world that we now live in?
Persistence, if I'm honest with you. It's the early sales numbers game. The more you knock, the more you speak to. But it's learning how to have a thick skin, take a no, and then move past that. So I'd say resistance and persistence is the ability from that knocking door sessions, I'd say, in the very early sales experience I had. So every time I knocked a door and someone said no or closed the door on my face, I just then tallied that up on my hand, moved to the next door, and I knew that every no I was getting closer to a yes.
Brilliant. And what does that mean in terms of your confidence?
In terms of confidence now, it just means that just because I've had a pitch with somebody or a demo or spoke to an investor, it means I don't take it personally anymore. Mm-hmm. And it means that I'm not thinking it's maybe the product's not right, or there's something wrong with the product, or something wrong with me, or even my sales process. I just think maybe they're not the right fit for what we're trying to achieve at the time. And I don't take it personally. I also know that now pipeline is fluid. It's got to continuously be topped up. So that's the biggest thing for me, is I know that just because you're working on a deal, it's not done till it's done. So just keep topping your pipeline up.
Love it. Great. You built a 2 million turnover agency from your bedroom. What were the key lessons from that phase that still guides you today?
Well, adaptability. So I would say from scaling very, very quickly and learning how to speak at board level, working from my bedroom, then working from a Starbucks office before working from home was cool, using warehouses as office space, and adaptability, and being able on the journey, grow the company, meet the customers, and build a product that was scaling really quickly, which was nice.
Who helped you along that way?
I actually worked with a scheme at the time called Dorman. It's a Dorset mentor scheme, which was excellent. So I had a business mentor.
Okay.
I had a good co-founder at the time, and a really good team around me. I'd say for me, it was making sure the core team around me was really driven by what we were trying to achieve at the time.
All right. How important is that? And where's it today in your journey with Nova and Launched?
I would say that foundation of that mentorship has set me up for the business success that I've achieved ever since. So I had that mentor for about 4 years. He came from a finance background. I don't have a finance background. I'm a sales background and engineering kind of background. And he gave me the leverage and the mechanics and tools needed to understand cash flow documentation, balance sheets, accounting facilities, and obviously how to raise money and things like that. So he gave me the tools and skill set I didn't have. That gave me the foundation to understand financial tools and mechanics, and also understand how to grow a business properly.
Got it. During the COVID crash, what lessons did you learn about, you mentioned resilience, persistence. What about reinvention and leadership?
This is something that actually happened. I was adapting as quick as we possibly could during COVID. Obviously, when everyone was working from home, I had this idea of doing one of our products was selling webinars and getting people to go to webinars and physical events. And we started doing that as an add-on very quickly, very successfully as well. And then we started to pivot when we realized the product that was doing really well was a SaaS product we were building for one of our bigger customers, and they really liked it, and they were still growing and using our product because they could see their leads, they could see their marketing all inside this one product.
And is that how you pivoted from agency to SaaS at that point?
We started to slowly building the SaaS product out, and then I moved the team over, and then we got to a position where I was running them side by side, and we wound down the customers on the agency.
Okay. And what gave you the conviction actually to pursue it?
I could see a future where SaaS was going to be needed more of a central point, and obviously we were building AI anyway. We were playing with AI, tinkering with AI. We had all of this data, and we were trying to see what we could do with it. I saw a future where the AI could do the sales position for linear sales cycle, but a sales position. So I then put all of my energy into learning as much about AI as possible.
Great. Okay. What was the aha moment that told you had something truly innovative?
It was the fact that I could train the AI not only on the sales data we had, so the emails we were generating, the calls we were generating, the LinkedIn message we were generating, but also the fact that I could train it on sales methodology. And I just thought if I could download all of my knowledge and then put this into another machine, how powerful is that going to be? And that's what I set out to do.
Interesting. So what made you take that route, and how did you go about it?
Yeah, of course. So we've taken our own model approach, and the reason why we've done it is because we wanted it to scale and we want to own that infrastructure. We've built a model, an open source model called a Mixtral 7B, which is a mixture of skill sets. It's massive, 7 billion parameters. It's hosting on our platform in AWS. So that's what I think.
Brilliant. Where does this fit in with which kind of industry, or how big is the user base, the clients of yours?
So for us, we've got a real mixed range of customer sizes. Our sweet spot's in between 50 and 200 employees. However, we have got smaller customers than that. We've got customers with 3 or 4 employees, a startup. We do have a mixed bag. But what they seem to all have in common is they all have a sales dedicated head and a marketing dedicated head. That can be done, but on the whole, what we're seeing is people are ready for this next step.
Fantastic. Give us one of your big success stories without naming names of companies.
Sure. So it's a relatively small company, and it's the smallest founder. They're about 5 or 6 employees, but they have a SaaS product of their own, and they build like content or collateral for employees. It's a really cool tool, and they can turn anything into content. They're really, really cool client. They went ahead, and they were the fastest onboarding.
Yes.
And 3 days later, they've generated you a lead.
How did that start? And how did you bootstrap it? What was this journey out there?
So my first company was fully bootstrapped, and it was an interesting journey. You learn an awful lot along that bootstrapping journey. You know how to make the money stretch. You prioritize what you have to pay sometimes. You prioritize which bill needs to be paid. You pay, and then you negotiate better terms with your suppliers. You work with your team, and you do the best you can to make it stretch. So you work with who you need to make it happen, right? But in terms of like funding round, this time round, I wanted to see the different journey. I wanted to see how it worked. And I didn't want to wait another 10 years to get to 2 million. Right. I wanted to do it faster.
And you're currently closing a 3 million round funding, is it correct? What's been the biggest challenge in fundraising on its own?
It's time consuming, really time consuming. It's a full-time job, and it's not just the meetings, because if you're trying to sell new business, I do founder-led sales, so I'm one of the major salespeople in the team, right? Yes. So you're not only trying to sell, you're not only trying to look after the engineering team and the product team, marketing team, and any other team that's coming up in your way. Right? You're also talking to investors now, which could be an hour each meeting, a couple hour meetings a day. So I'd suggest that if it's something you guys want to do, I suggest definitely do it, but make sure you can really carve out the time for it to work, and give it longer than you think.
And how do you stand out in a noisy AI market right now? Because the investors have a lot of money, and so do they have a lot of choices too.
And you're absolutely right with that. It was difficult at start. Iterations of pitch deck is what I would say is the first thing, and making sure my pitch deck is clear and simple. It says what we do, and then on the call, just literally speak to them, understand what it is they're looking for, and see how you match. Treat it like a sales call.
Love it. Okay. What's your advice to other founders trying to raise capital in today's climate out there?
I would say my advice is automate as much as possible. If you're not looking at using some AI, but use email automation as much as you possibly can, and that will take care of the email. We don't want to do generic messages. You want to have some kind of tailoring behind it, but you want to...
This is the constant challenge. A lot of founders or CEOs break their heads. What kind of guidance would you give them?
So I would say laying off people is never good. It's not really an ideal scenario. What I would say first of all is if there's any way you can work with that person to make them more productive, that's the first thing. And if you gave them that tool, is that the missing piece? If you evaluated those people and said, look, if I gave them this tool that could do 10 times the amount of outreach, am I going to get a better result? So I'd say initially, I would say probably try them with a tool like the automation, because it could be that they're spending too much time doing research on an email or doing too much time writing that email. Look at them, look at their productivity. But I'd say look at what they're actually working on, where they're spending their time.
And I just want to circle back in terms of your funding. And while the investor has certain expectations, as always, how do you balance that vision with investor expectation?
If I'm honest with you, I would always under promise and over deliver where I can is probably my expectation. I would always set out my final vision of where I see the company ending up and where it's going to be. I will then pepper that back or with milestones of how we're going to get there, and I'll always then under promise and over deliver where I can within reason. So I'd say for the advice for the people here and who wanted to speak to investors, and that vision, make that vision end goal as big as possible, but then obviously incremental milestones that you can realistically achieve to get there.
Understood. What are the values? So you have certain values, the company has certain values. What are you looking at in terms of the investors from that angle? And what are your top 3 values?
My top 3, I'd say, in terms of, so being inquisitive and wanting to learn and hungry to learn, embrace the challenge, and also self-belief.
Love that. How do you map that with when you have investors and major shareholders wanting to take a pie of your?
When I talk to my major shareholders and investors, I explain to them what I'm building here, an AI salesperson. And if they say it's not possible or the world's not ready, they don't have self-belief and they're not probably ready to embrace the challenge, because it is going to be a challenge. I'm going to be challenging the norm. I'm going to be building something that's going to be affecting an industry that's been around for a long, long time, and people have been doing it a long, long time. So that's the first thing, is if they don't believe that this is possible or isn't what they're looking for, that's the first thing. And at the same time, if they don't ask me what I would call interesting questions, if they ask me, your number questions, standard questions you expect, and that's it, not how is it built, why is it built, then they're not that actually interested. They're just trying to tick a box or go through the motions. They're not going to be a good fit. And I guess the last one as well is that the chemistry, the dynamic. If I'm working with this person day to day or quarter to quarter, board meeting to board meeting, how am I going to get along with this person? And also I try to imagine, will I buy from that person? Because at the end of the day, they're selling to me. And if I can't believe in them and don't trust in them, it's never going to work. So I need to see that chemistry on the call.
Love it. Well, let's circle back to team. How big is your team?
So there's about 6 of us now at the moment. And we're looking to scale, but not massively. We're probably going to add another 5 or 6 heads in the next few months. We're planned, obviously, to add to each individual department. So we need marketing people because no one knows about us. We desperately need more engineers. We've got something to build. So I think marketing is key. Is customer success, because we're winning so many customers at the moment. We need somebody to help support them. So I'll just say incremental. But at the moment, 6 heads at the moment.
Okay.
So I think the biggest thing I look for is how much they want to learn and how much they do self-learning themselves.
Got it. And how do you lead on a day-to-day basis in exactly the same way that you expect your team to run?
So for me, I never ask anyone in the team to do anything I wouldn't do myself or haven't done myself or I'm not doing myself, right? So I will always lead first and show it can be done. So if I say to somebody, this is your target, if, for example, sales, my target will be the same or higher, and then I'll hit it. So I can say it's been done. So that's kind of my mentality, is that I'm never going to say, you said this, and I don't want them to say, well, you never did that.
What's your book you're currently reading?
So I'm reading a book. It's a sales book. It's about the challenge of sale. So the qualified sales leader I'm reading at the moment. So I've read it a couple of times already, but I'm rereading it now because I'm using some of the training to train my knowledge on my Nova.
Love it. And how do you actually, when it comes to your team, how do you treat failures and how do you work along that?
I'm very much of the mindset that you give everyone multiple chances. There's no yes or no. You give people chances. You give people may fail at the beginning and they actually might turn out to be really, really good later on down the line. And I've seen that happen firsthand. So I'm very much about giving people lots of chances. However, I want to see in that person that their self-enablement. Mm-hmm. I want them to be able to show me that they're actually trying themselves, not that you've given them a chance and they've just give me a chance and they carry on going. I want them to see that they're trying, they're actually showing, whether they succeeded or not, they've shown incremental improvements or steps towards the right end result. And from there, that's what I'm looking for. So I can say, okay, well, this is the end result today. You've not made that, but if you can show me you've done step 1, 2, and 3, then we can call that a win. And then that's what I'm looking for, is that they've shown incremental steps along the way. And I like to give people space. I'm not the kind of manager that's update me every 10 minutes, tell me how many emails you sent, how many calls you made. I like to give you space because I want you to be self-powered and self-enabled. I don't want to be controlling your movements, I want you to believe in yourself and believe in the product and the company so that you then don't need me.
Got it. And how much of a engineers' time or workforce time on a weekly or a monthly basis is spent on actually learning a self-development or training or mentoring or coaching?
I would say, in terms of the engineering team themselves, I would say dedicated time to learning is mostly probably 1 or 2 days in a month. Yeah. So I'd say every day they're asking and learning new things, and they're working on things that no one's ever built before or done before. There's going to be problems along the way.
Let's come back to the product itself, right? So you built an AI salesperson that will soon join Zoom calls and also send contract autonomously soon, right? How far can this tech go?
So our end goal is that we want Nova to be basically a sales AI on endpoint on API, which basically allows our customers to build their own platform. Now, like how you use ChatGPT and Claude, you just plug the API and you use the credits.
Correct.
That's what we want, but it'd be a sales specialist. So if you're a car salesman or if you're a insurance salesman, you could have a website and Nova could be behind it, powering it.
Okay, so that's where. And what's your vision in terms of timeline?
3 to 5 years, I'd say. We're far off. So we're moving quick. AI is going to analyze the call in real time, read what the prospect's saying, and using the methodologies and the training, she's going to guide the salesperson into how to close that piece of business in real time.
Got it. Okay, so that's pretty powerful. So once you have a human element, and then eventually it becomes totally AI driven.
What some people are going to want humans still, and obviously I think you should. So you're going to still have that AI assisted.
Got it. And now talk to me in terms of when we talk about the future of sales, right? Changing in the next 3 to 5 years, especially with AI doing more of the work. How do you see that future? I
think the future is not a scary place. I think it's not something that people should be worried about. I think what it should be doing, if I was an AE today and I was sat in an AE seat and I was looking at selling what I would call point-click solutions, right? And it was a simple point-click solution. It was a simple sell. I would be now going away and doing skills and sales skills and training. It's about how do we treat AI different to humans, right? And how do we hold it accountable? And the premise of the piece is like AI at the moment is being flagged as the best thing in the world, but it's been measured against KPIs and measurements that are based on technology. But if you employ an AI to do a job and the AI fails, it's about AI. But if you employ a human to do the job and the human fails, the human gets fired and that impacts their life. So why is it the AI is allowed to get away with it and be treated differently to the human when the outcome is the same? So I think that if you look at AI and should measure it in the same outcomes as what you'd give a human in that position. That could be like if AI made a mistake and it sent a fire alarm off in a building and some people left, right? Oh, the AI made the mistake. But if a human set that off and set a fire alarm off, the human's going to get fired.
Yeah. No, very true. In fact, there's a podcast I was listening to where because on LinkedIn, you need to be a real person. Now you have to go through passport checks or whatever, ID and V. And now with the AI employees, AI agents coming, some of them have actually written to LinkedIn and want to see what is their kind of change in policy when it comes to an AI workforce and how they actually accept AI, I would say, personas or profiles on LinkedIn. I think that's going to be a different world that we're going to be living in soon.
That's a really good point. Some of our customers have asked, how do we feel about them making up a person on LinkedIn and making up a person persona for doing the outreach? And we're thinking about now actually having it in the next few months or whatever, where you build your own sales avatar.
Yes.
People are asking for that. So instead of hiring somebody, we'll just have an AI avatar. It looks on LinkedIn and stuff like that. So the market's already driving that way.
Yeah.
I think for me, what really, really excites me is the possibilities, the real enablement or possibilities of making somebody who, like for myself, I had a small company at a marketing agency, and if I had the AI at the time, I would scale quicker. I'd have had a lot less headaches maybe along the way and all this kind of stuff. So it's the fact that we were able to level the playing field for small companies and big companies and empower those companies to be able to do more and achieve more. And I think that's what really, really excites me, is that if you hire or use AI in any area, not just sales, but in finance or marketing, you're able to achieve so much more than you were before, and stuff that you would never been able to achieve with the same kind of budgets and same kind of time restraints. So I think what really excites me is what is the possibilities.
Got it. And let's move slightly in terms of data security, right? Because here you have your clients putting up all the data into your model, as an example, but the others also putting it into chat. Nova, how does she manage data security and data kind of walls across?
Good question. So we have a RAG system, which is basically a storage network, if you want, for where the data sits. But each of it is fragmented into individual customers. So all of it's all fragmented, and so it's all ring fenced and hard walled against each individual customer. So they have their own version. They have their own version of Nova as well. So it's not like one Nova shared amongst everyone. They have their own version,
right,
with a base foundational training, but then they have their own training on the side. So we fragment Nova in that way. And also we use the best IT security we possibly can and available to us. And it's all hosted in AWS and Snowflake. So everything's in massive places and disaster recovery policies in place.
How do you maintain your physical and mental fitness?
It's a good point. It's quite too often that founders, and I've done it, I've been for myself done it, where you've not prioritized your diet or prioritized exercise. But I think what I realized is that doesn't help anyone. And by being a dad, it really opened my eyes that I didn't want to be the dad that was too tired to play with my daughter, or couldn't lift her up, or was hungover, or was too busy or too stressed. So I really dedicate time for her. Tuesday evenings, Friday evenings, and Saturdays. They're really boxed off. Is I dedicate my time to her. Phone is off or not being responded to, and we play and do things like that, and we go out and do stuff. So for me, she is my downtime. But then at the same time, I go to the gym 2-3 times a week if I can. I force myself to go to the gym, and the reason why I do that is I work from the gym, from a co-working space they have in this. And then food-wise, I try to eat as clean as possible. It's not easy, but as clean as possible, because I think what you put in, if you put garbage in, garbage out, that's the kind of methodology I have. So if you're eating good, then obviously good stuff will come out and you'll feel clean. Exactly. So I don't drink during the week now as well. So
All right.
It'll only be on the weekend. So
okay, great. And mental fitness, how do you keep that?
I have a counsellor. I have a therapist which I've been speaking to for about 5 years. So it's mainly book offloading stuff. He's more of a coach than a counsellor as well.
Love it. What's one non-negotiable you have that keeps you performing at your best all the time?
I'd say my daughter. Being around her and know that I'm seeing her so often in the week, it means that I'm not going to be taken off the path of being a good founder. And that vision of what life I want her to have and the goal I'm building here is the reason why I work so hard as I do, is because I want her to be proud of me when she grows up.
I love it. Who's part of your inner circle today?
So I'd say I'm very close to my co-founder. I've got a good friend, a couple of good friends as well, a guy called Damon, a guy called Peter, really good friends, and my mum. I always speak to my mum quite a lot. I think it's always good to have a good relationship with your mum. Yes. So bless her, she doesn't fully understand. She's not from business world or anything like that, but she does her best to listen and that kind of stuff, I'd say.
What's one book that actually shaped how you think today?
Law of Attraction. Started to re-engineer myself. So quite simple. I believe obviously positive breeds more positivity. So if somebody asks me how are you feeling, I wouldn't say I'm okay or not bad. Both of those are negative. So I'd say I'm really good, thank you. And then I just re-engineered that, and now it's standard. It's just little tweaks like that kind of helps.
Yes, all the positive psychology. Joe, it was great having you. That's a wrap for today.